Hi all, Karen coming at you again.
The Butcher Bomb Macabre.
Oh, now we're going real deep on the
All right, come on.
voice here.
Let's go.
So we actually just watched this last night.
So keep people entertained. Let's go.
So it was actually
So,
I'm
wipe
sorry.
that cocaine away from your nose while we do this.
No, I'm sick.
Yeah, sure. Get that powder away from there. All right, come on.
This movie is called Fall.
Not falling down, just fall.
Fall, rated PG-13.
Yeah, boo.
Thriller survival. It's an hour and 47 minutes.
Uh,
It was released on August 12th, 2022. Bob and I had seen a trailer for this, and I actually kind of forgot about it.
yep.
And then I had gotten a rental code from Redbox, rent one, get one free. So this was one of the ones I grabbed because I happened to have it.
All right, can you put your phone away so we can... You're distracting and you're pausing a lot, so...
I'm not pausing.
Okay.
6.4 out of 10 on IMDb, 79% on Rotten Tomatoes. Meanwhile, the Slumber Party got 100.
Whatever. See, I don't know why you're even doing that. I thought you were just
So,
using your phone to talk about other information. But
no, I
okay.
was gathering some of that up.
All right, you go ahead. In case I might have to disappear for a couple minutes to get my food, so she might have to carry the program here for a little bit.
So basically, this movie starts out. There is three friends. Well, one's a husband and wife, which it took me a little bit further in the movie to realize. I thought they were boyfriend and girlfriend, but it turned out they were married. And another friend of theirs doing climbing.
Doing pause climbing.
No, I was like, I didn't know if I wanted to say cliff climbing, but I think that's about the same thing.
Yeah, it's like watching Cliffhanger. The beginning of If you see the beginning of Cliffhanger,
Yeah.
you get the gist of this.
So basically, obviously it's high risk, with doing that safety and everything else. What ends up, Dan ends up falling to his death.
Mm-hmm.
And
It looked funny when he fell. It was so fake. I laughed. It was so CG'd or whatever when he fell. It looked so funny. I'm sorry, I just had to say that.
No, that's I don't know why. Maybe I just, my anxiety, I am terrified of heights. So I wasn't even sure if I was going to be able to watch this or not, but it didn't cause my anxiety to go as bad as I expected.
Yeah, people know you're weird.
Bite me. Anyways, it goes forward to 51 weeks later.
Yeah, I got a kick out of like fucking really.
Yeah, not quite a year later, but 51 weeks
51
later.
weeks, 6 days, and 12 hours.
Yeah, you were making comments about stuff like that. And Dan's wife, Becky, has basically... She's drunk all the time, and basically is what I gathered from it.
She's an idiot.
She's not living her life. She's basically locking herself up in her apartment, not doing anything. Like her dad's reaching out, trying to help her. She's like just blowing everybody off.
Well, if she did that, I think we'd have a porno, but you know.
Ha ha. What also shows, like, when they're scanning their apartment, like, there's a box with his ashes, Dan's ashes.
I didn't know that was a first. I thought
Yeah,
it
well,
was
it says,
like a box from eBay or something.
No, it said cremated remains.
I didn't see that.
On the
Sorry.
sticker inside.
I didn't see it.
So, basically, her dad tries to come and talk to her, and she basically tells him to fuck off.
Yeah, she's a little cunt. I don't know if I can say that or not,
But,
I don't like
yeah,
her.
she just
She's kind of a
basically
bitch.
doesn't want to go on living or anything like that. So...
And he knew it was something that she didn't know.
A little bit later, her friend, her name's Hunter, who was on the climbing expedition with her and Dan, shows up and is like, oh my God, with everything. And
She's a fun one like you.
yeah, well, this Hunter's been doing this, I guess, YouTube channel where she does all these dangerous climbs and other shit.
Like we might do.
Yeah, right. So she decides she wants to climb this tower. It's a specific tower.
The Tower of Power.
They mention it in there. I don't know if this tower actually exists or not, but she wants Becky to accompany her because she says, I need a partner.
Yeah.
And she goes, we can get up to the top and we can spread Dan's ashes. It's time to kick fear in the butt. Move. The tower's just like 6 hours from where they're at.
Yeah, it's only 6 hours, yeah. Only.
So they set out to climb this tower. There's a life hack with charging phone. That's what Hunter calls it.
Oh, yeah. Does that work? You have to explain
I
to
don't
people.
know.
Oh.
Basically,
Try that and let us know if that works.
if you've seen the movie, you'll know what I'm talking
Yeah.
about. But basically, they're in this restaurant trying to find this tower. The Becky asks about charging her phone. The waitress is like, well, power ain't free, girl. That's like going on, like just
Yeah, like
not being very
shut the
nice.
fuck up.
And they find like the tower's like just like right over from where they're at. But there's like a lamp at the table at the
Oh, they
restaurant.
never knew they had lamps at
Yeah,
restaurants.
I thought that was odd too.
Yeah.
But I mean, this is like in the middle of nowhere as
Yeah.
well. So, anyways, Hunter takes out the light bulb and says if you line the prongs up on the plug just right,
I'll be back. My food's ready.
you can charge. It's nothing. I've seen other hacks, but I've never heard of that one.
Do you want to cancel it so it doesn't stay on?
Yeah, cancel it.
All right. Sorry.
Sorry, not canceling you guys. So, anyways, they spend the night. They're at the hotel there. I think it's right next to the restaurant. And then the next day, they set out to go to the tower. Well, here, when they drive up, there's actually that it's actually gated and chained shut, and there's actually a sign on there that says "No trespassing, danger of death." And Bob made a comment. He goes, I've never seen a sign like that. And I said, well, I've seen something similar on certain things. So they climb the gate and walk the rest of the way. Basically, then we have them climbing the tower. Well, I'm sorry, let me back up. Before they start climbing the tower, though, there are these vultures eating an animal. Well, here it turns out the animal is still alive. So the girls kind of chase them off, but they also know the vultures are going to come back. And I think it's like a goat or a sheep or something. I don't think it's all that important. But like I said, her friend Hunter is a YouTuber, Insta star, or whatever. So she takes a picture and like sends it out, and she's like, "Oh, I'm getting all these likes." Well, anyways, they start climbing, and this tower is supposed to be. Not sure she wants to do it. Hunter is encouraging her on and everything. So I don't even remember how long this lasted, but they do eventually like make it to the top because initially they're like inside what they call this cage area, but then eventually the ladder is outside, and that's what Bob was commenting about how windy it was. He's like, would they actually be able to hear each other? Would that be safe? Wouldn't it be getting blown around? And I said, well, the only experience I can relate to that is I had gone to New York in high school.
Yeah, you went skydiving.
We went to the Empire State Building, and I know we can only, I can't remember if it was like the 85th floor was all the further we could go up. It wasn't, we couldn't go to the top, and I can't remember how many stories it was because they said it was too windy and unsafe.
Yeah,
So
is that 2,000 feet in the air? Or
I don't know.
Yeah.
My perception and all that is, and like I said, I mentioned earlier, I'm terrified of heights, but I pushed myself to do that because I knew I probably will never be there again. So I pushed myself to do it because I knew experience wise, I would never probably get to do it again. But, they eventually make it to this platform that's at the top. And then there's this light above there that's just basically there so like aircraft don't hit it. So they're taking home footage and pictures and hanging off the edge and all this other stuff. And Hunter's like, Becky, you did it. You conquered your fears. You're living life again, so on and so forth. Well, they decide, okay, we got to climb down. So Becky goes to start climbing down, and the fucking ladder falls
so
apart.
she was jacking around on the ladder.
Well, Hunter was jacking around.
Yeah, I get it. I get their name. The blonde bitch with the big titties and the dark hair bitch. Sorry, that's all I remember. Shit.
So earlier on, Hunter was messing with the ladder and saying, "Oh, this is sturdy. This is sturdy." Well, screws started falling out.
Yeah, yeah.
Bolts, I should say,
yeah.
not screws. Bolts.
Yeah, I'll call her Boobies instead of Hunter. Her name is Boobies.
Okay. So, anyways, the ladder basically collapses almost like the whole way down. So they are like stuck up 2,000 feet in the air. No cell phone reception. They did have a backpack, but it fell off of Becky when the ladder broke, and it's caught on, I guess it would be like a satellite dish or something.
I don't know whether it was satellite. I guess.
It's about 50 or so feet down from them. So basically, at this point, they're trying to figure out, like, how are we going to get help? Like I said, they have no cell phone reception. Well, here they find this emergency box. And they open it, and all that's in there is a pair of binoculars and a flare gun. So they're like, okay, what do we do with this? So they're like using the binoculars to look around. And all Hunter kept saying is, you know what? This noise had to be heard everywhere. Somebody's going to call 911 immediately.
Yeah.
Nobody did
Nobody's
shit.
going to hear that.
Nobody did
She
shit.
kept lying and making up shit.
Yeah, so she kept basically keeps saying things to try to reassure Becky because Becky's like,
She's a whore too.
She's in a total like panic.
No, Hunter. Hunter's a whore.
You said you weren't calling her that. Hunter. You weren't calling her.
Well, you know, well, okay, boobies is a whore. Well, I hate saying boobies and whore in the same sense because that's a disgrace.
So they're up there still trying to figure out how to, get somebody's attention. They realize at one point about they had cell phone reception at certain points on the tower. So they try lowering, Hunter tries lowering her cell phone further down because they have rope. I guess it would. I mean, I don't know.
have a cell phone. I honestly don't. I'm not up on that technology, so I don't. I was asking you, like, would that work? How does that work?
Yeah. So Hunter tries to use this rope to lower her cell phone down to try to get like an SOS message basically out to her followers. Well, it doesn't work. So they end up doing, I don't know how many of you know, like the egg challenge where you're supposed to...
No, I'm not up on that shit either.
Where you're supposed to try to develop a contraption where you can drop an egg from a certain height and it doesn't crack or break.
How about the Bob McCobb challenge?
What's that?
I challenge everybody in the world to send me $5 in my PayPal.
Yeah.
I'm not up on them challenges either. I don't know that.
So,
I know the random Nautica or the Slender Man challenge.
They decide to drop Hunter's cell phone in her shoe. Mm-hmm. And they're trying to pat it. Well, here in the middle of taking off her shoe, Becky notices this tattoo that says 143 on her foot. And there was something earlier in the movie about with Becky and Dan where he would tap out that to her as I love you. Because the I was 1, love was 4, and you was 3.
Oh, that's so sweet.
And that's actually something Mr. Rogers used to always say. Ha, ha, ha.
I remember that.
Yeah. And here it comes out later.
No surprise. I call that, right?
Yeah.
I called it.
Well, they end up... Well, I'll get to that in a bit. Mm-hmm. Becky keeps looking at that and wondering about things, but they go ahead and drop her cell phone in her shoe.
Oh, she took off her bra.
Yeah, they were doing all kind of padding because she wears a padded bra. Mm-hmm. Hoping for help.
Make her boobs look bigger.
Yeah. Well, Becky keeps like looking at her foot as well because she's looking at that and like looking at stuff on her phone and everything. Well, here in the middle of all this too, they end up finding in the binoculars these two guys. They're in the desert.
That was kind of a waste of. I don't know what they're.
And here they do try to get their attention with the flare gun. Well, here they come over and steal Hunter's car.
That was just weird. That was a weird.
Because Amy.
What?
Bob kept saying, he goes, oh, they're probably going to get help. I'm like, no, they're assholes. They just stole her car.
Like, well, I thought maybe they wanted you to think they were that.
But
they were actually going to, I don't know. I just thought it was weird.
Eventually after this, or somewhere in between all this, it kind of comes out that Dan and Hunter were having an affair, I guess, I don't know if it was...
And when did I call that? Like 10 minutes into the movie, possibly?
I don't remember.
That was stupid.
Oh, and prior to all the ladder collapsing, too, they did spread his ashes, and Hunter kind of broke down, which I was kind of like, yeah, there's more going on.
Yeah, it took you that long to figure that out.
No, I kind of figured that, too, but...
All right. I'll be back.
I don't know if it was before him and Becky got married or after, but she said she edited it because she loved Becky more as her best friend. So, they continue to try to figure out how they're going to get help. Becky set an alarm on her phone. It eventually goes off, and she said it's been 24 hours since they dropped Hunter's phone. And she said either it's broken in a million pieces or your followers don't care.
Mm-hmm. Unlike yours, you know.
Yeah. So they're still trying to figure out, and then they realize about the backpack with the drone. So Hunter makes her way down, retrieves the backpack. Because they were saying, like, they could put a note on, get
And there's that weird fucked up part that they explain later, but it was, I don't know, I thought that was
Yeah,
weird.
well, we'll get to that later.
I don't know how long you're guarding this up for.
So Hunter goes down, gets the backpack. And we kept saying this because she couldn't reach the rope to get back up, and she was using, because she had a selfie stick.
Yeah.
Well, she put the backpack on the selfie stick and was doing it that way instead of just using the selfie stick to get the... But anyway, she eventually gets the backpack attached to the selfie stick. And starts...
Selfie stick.
And jumps on the rope to climb back up, and Becky's pulling her up. Well, she almost gets to the top and actually falls back down, but lands on the backpack, but ends up injuring her hands. They eventually get her back up to the top, and it turns out, as they're trying to send a message, because they said they'll fly back to the hotel, saying, hey, we're stuck up on the tower, send help. Well, here, as they start flying the drone away, it doesn't have enough energy. So they end up retrieving it back, and they're trying to figure out how to charge it. Well, here, as they're sitting through the night, and Becky's having off and on nightmares throughout this.
That was kind of annoying, too.
Yeah, because that made it kind of hard to know, okay, is she dreaming?
That's why I was like, yeah.
With that, but eventually they're trying to figure out how to charge the drone, and Becky looks up at the top of the tower, which is another
I saw
30.
it, too. They're showing that flash. I know what you're
Yeah.
saying.
And there's a light flashing, and Becky goes, can't we just... And then Hunter's like, oh my God, you're a genius. So Becky shimmies up this 30 extra feet to the light.
Yeah, no problem.
And ends up getting the drone fully charged.
Cool.
But in the middle of all this, while Becky's up there, the damn vultures are back. And they're like attacking her while she's up there. So, she's trying to hold the charge. These vultures are attacking because Becky had injured her leg in the initial fall when the ladder broke. So she ends up dropping the backpack while she's up there, and Hunter makes no effort to catch it.
Yeah, that was weird, but then you find out why. Which is kind of weird.
So eventually she gets the drone charged and slides back down, and she's questioning Hunter on why didn't you catch the backpack, but Hunter doesn't really answer her, and they're just discussing what time they're going to fly the drone over, because they want to fly over to where they were staying at the hotel. And they said the best time's like 10 a.m. because that's like checkout. So Becky's trying to fly the drone over. They have it fully charged. They're making it over. Think they're almost going to make it. Damn tractor trailer comes and takes out the drone.
That was kind of fun, but you would have seen that with binoculars looking. You think you would have known. They noticed the other shit. And then there was that scene where they showed that other truck going by there, remember? But you said about that, and then it's gone. Like, I don't know if that was a fuck-up.
Yeah, there was, another one coming. And
it was real quick. I don't know if they...
Because they're yelling, look at the drone, don't look at the truck, look at your drone. Well, the truck driver leaves.
But, yeah, I just thought that part was weird.
Well, then, it kind of goes on, Becky's, really losing hope, becoming really...
She should have just jumped.
Delusional. Well, here... Hunter is kind of talking to her, and she's like, you need to calm down. She's trying to get her to focus on things, and she's like, you need to get energy. You need to strengthen yourself. And she turns and look at Becky, and here, the whole side of her face is bleeding and everything. She goes, or no, they wanted to use her shoe to drop Becky's food.
I don't have my shoe. Yeah,
and Hunter's going, no, you can't. My shoe's down there. You can't have it. And Becky's going, no, your other one. And then Hunter looks at her, and the whole side of her face had bled. And she goes, Becky, your skinny ass didn't pull me up there. My body's down there. I bled out. So it's kind of explains a couple things there. That's maybe why. If
they hadn't done the dream sequence, maybe I could have got behind that. But they were fucking with you. So is she fucking dreaming this whole thing? I thought the whole thing was going to be a dream.
Right. And I know you were asking, annoying. And I said, well, honestly, with dehydration and starvation, you would start hallucinating.
I guess, but I mean.
So then Becky Becky's like, okay, survival of the fittest, because also she sees a vulture is eating at Hunter's body. So it goes to the next morning, and Becky's just kind of sitting there waiting Oh, you don't know. Actually, you don't know if she's dead or not. Well, here a vulture flies and like starts pecking at her leg. Well, here Becky like
That part was cool.
wakes up and like beats the shit out of this vulture,
Well, that part was cool.
and then she starts eating it to get energy.
Okay.
And then eventually, what she does is she gets herself together, climbs down to the satellite where Hunter's body is, and she grabs Hunter's other shoe and starts like making another safety thing to send her cell phone down. She texts her dad. And then she looks at Hunter and says, I'm so sorry, I have to do this. And she sticks the shoe inside Hunter's stomach that's been eaten out and actually pushes Hunter's body off the dome.
She's like,
off the,
bitch, you cheat with my man, I'll push your ass up.
off the satellite. Well, here then it ends with her dad like driving to town, and there's all this emergency emergency trucks and all that there, helicopter and everything. Well, he sees a body in a body bag thinking it's her. Well, then she's yelling, Dad, Dad. She's over in the ambulance. And
he's like, oh, it's your whore friend. Oh, thank God.
Well, I don't even know if he knew it was her or not.
Well, okay.
So Bob was confused. He's like, wait, how would they? And I said, well, if the text message went through, he could have just called 911 and said,
I'm done
hey,
with that kind
I got
of stuff.
a text message. My daughter's stuck on this tower. And as I said earlier in the movie, they said it was 6 hours away. So it would have taken him 6 hours
I remember that,
to get
but
there.
I don't know the phone stuff. But, okay.
But, I mean,
I understand.
I think this movie caught our attention. And I can't remember if we reviewed this movie on this channel or not. Frozen.
I don't think we did.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. We're not talking about the Disney movie Frozen.
No, we'll check. Maybe
So I'll have to double check. I wanted to check before we started recording. But I think it was part of the reason why this movie caught our attention.
I like Frozen a little better.
But then you said you had something else you wanted to add because you watched some making.
Yeah, I mean, basically there was three things I didn't like about the movie. One was it was too long. I mean, it could have been cut back a little bit, maybe 10, 15 minutes generously. I didn't like the whole fucking bullshit because about him seeing her, the boy. That's just so like, I don't know, Lifetime. But what do the movies do? That like I'm seeing her like Jerry Springer-ish, and I didn't like that. And then the dream shit was all kind of ruined it for that other part because I thought that other part would have been kind of cool. Whenever she was hallucinating and seeing her and she was dead, but I'm thinking. She's fucking dreaming this again. That's what pissed me off because it's a fucking dream, and it was so. If they wouldn't have had that dream shit in there, they wouldn't have done that. And I appreciate what they did. So I watched the making of it and the effects. I'm like, okay, that's cool how they did that. But there was one thing that I kind of pissed me off that I thought was bullshit because this not the effects. This is what makes it fake for me. You're in that situation. You're not going to be saying. Oh, I don't know I don't forget what she says, but basically says, "Oh, I hope those guys are a bunch of freaking assholes." They actually because they were doing some sort of improv, and both of them were actually swearing and saying, "Fuck this, fuck that, you fucking assholes, you fucking pieces of shit." And I'm like, think about it. If you're in that situation. You're not going to be saying freaking, oh darn, oh gosh. You're going to be saying fuck. You're going to be doing that. They actually went in and edited those words out by CGing her mouth to make it look like she says freaking instead of fucking. And they did that to make it a PG-13 movie. But it's like, if you're in that situation, you're not, okay, and I'm going to go off topic here to make my point because I like to make my point. Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. They added that one scene where he drops all those F-bombs. That's what got it the R rating instead of a PG rating. But that makes sense to me because look at all that shit he went through. You're going to be like, I want a fucking car, you fucking this, you fucking that, because I fucking... You're going to be talking like that in real life. That's what I have a problem with. But we don't want it to be R. We don't want it to be R. They even said that we can't get an R rating. We need it to be PG-13. And that just pissed me off because Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, they left that in knowing it was going to be R. They got the R, and it was awesome. If they'd have cut that scene out, the movie would have been PG. And I have so much respect for that because that's how you would really react. If you're 2,000 feet in the air, you're not going to be say freaking and gosh darn. You're going to be saying fuck, shit, and anything else you can think of. But because they had to change that, kind of takes you out of the movie. You're like, oh gosh darn it, we're trapped up here. Tee hee, what are we gonna do? You're not gonna act like that. You're like, we're fucking trapped up here, son of a bitch. What the fuck are we gonna do? That's what you're gonna be doing. You're not gonna be like, you know what I mean? So it kind of takes you out of that situation. Do you understand what I mean? Mm-hmm. Okay, that's what I want to say about that. But it was okay. I give it a. I mean, I was gonna give it like a C, but because of watching that, I'll give it a C minus, just because. Really, you couldn't have the balls to make it an R and make it realistic that people would really act in that situation. But, just like when you watch kid movies, kids swear. Like It, The Monster Squad, The Goonies. Kids act like that. Kids aren't nice and polite. They're rude, ignorant, and they swear. But yet when they make movies where they're not doing that, then that makes it fake and you can't get into it because it's like, they're just doing that. So, I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's just me being the way I am. But I kind of cut it down a little bit because they wanted to cut down from an R to a PG-13, and I don't have much respect for that. Just I don't know. Well, I'm not going to say it. We might talk about that other movie if we're doing trailers, so I'm not going to talk about it now. But we'll get into my PG-13 bullshit rant too, possibly. So that's all I have to say about that. I liked it other than those three things, and then whenever I watched about the PG-13 rating, it was going to be R, but they took out a lot of the swearing because they were improving that. And that's how you would react, I think so. Leave a comment if you agree with that. Like, what do you think about PG-13 or R? Would you rather be into the movie like, oh, that's how they're going to react, kind of like Planes, Trains, and Automobiles? That's how he would react after going through all that shit. He's going to be swearing and saying all that stuff. He's not going to be like, oh, gosh darn it, I lost my freaking car because I want a freaking car, a freaking Mustang. He's not going to say that. You're going to be saying all that. That's just a natural way people will talk. At least I think so. All right, that's all I'm going to rant about that. But like I said, it was fine, other than those few things I talked about. But yeah, it was just too damn long. All right,
Okay.
I'm done. You can finish it up.
Anyways, please remember to like, comment, subscribe, bell icon so you know when I post new content. Help share the page. Like I said, subscriber numbers are going up.
We want to keep it that way.
Subscribe. Check out my other channel.
Yeah, Bluto's over there. He'll be over there.
If there's something out there you want us to maybe review, put it down in the comments. We'll see you in the next one. Bye.